Hey, 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 it's Isaya. Welcome, welcome. So today's another one of the Isaya's Inspiring Evenings podcast episode. And it's one of the series called Round and Up She Goes, where we discuss everything cyclic or everything menstrual. And it's one of a series of four or five, even five, I think.
Six, I
Episode
think,
6.
for
Oh my God,
now.
we're never finishing. That's great. With Lisa Hara. So, hi, Lisa. Welcome,
Hello.
welcome. So, for those of you who have never met Lisa yet, I'm going to go on and read her bio. Just to remind you that this is a series where we discussed about the female cycle, the moon, female health, menstruation, blood, and anything feminine and cyclic. And the particular general topic of Lisa's interventions, let's call them this way, is about female or feminine health. So we are talking mostly about the physical, and I insist about the mostly, because it's never always only about the physical. So, Lisa Hara is a menstrual and menopausal health specialist, helping women and menstruating folks alleviate their menstrual or perimenopausal health challenges in a holistic and natural way without medication, external hormones, or surgery, so they can take their menstrual or perimenopausal health into their own hands. She leads a quiet yet powerful revolution for sacred rebels ready to radically trust their own body's cyclical or cyclical wisdom, release trauma and internalized shame, as well as erode patriarchy from the inside out. This is a big one. Hey again, so Lisa. This is episode 3, isn't it, of the series we do together. And today, the title of the episode is Calm and Confident: The Role of the Nervous System in Female Health and Healing. So, we're going to be discussing the nervous system. So, my first question would be, what the heck is the nervous system? Do we all have it? Do men have it? Do non menstrual folks have it too?
Yes, yes, of course. All of humanity has it, animals have it. I dare say maybe plants have it too. At least something that could be considered a nervous system. It's basically synapses and all these things that are firing and transmitting information throughout the body. So when something in your system perceives danger, your brain will activate certain hormones to be produced or some kind of reaction to get you out of the dangerous situation. Or when everything is clear and it's safe, then it will induce a sense of relaxation in your body.
Mm-hmm.
There are basically two states that you can be in. That is the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is when you're activated, and that can be in a good way, like you're hyped up, motivated. It can also be this fight or flight response when you're like in danger, so that you can either flee or fight the aggressor.
Mm-hmm.
So we all experience both states multiple times throughout the day, and neither is better or less
Mm-hmm.
than the other. It's just that we need a healthy balance between the two. And
Mm-hmm.
for the moments when we are in this activated state, we also need times when we are in a relaxed state, so that other processes can be going. And what we find very often in today's society is that we're so activated all of the time because
Mm-hmm.
of all the stimuli and all the messages, and our phone is constantly ringing and pinging and doing its thing. And then we've got social media and all the stuff. We are bombarded with influence. The
And if I'm
news and
understanding
world
correct,
stage not even addressed yet.
yeah, of course. But if I understand you correctly, our nervous system reacts to stimulation, whatever the stimulation, even the good ones, even the agreeable ones, in a way that it has to produce an answer, whatever it is, which means what we to find the balance that you are presenting as a better option, which I agree. We need to stop the stimulation, even the good ones, or to find places
Yes and
where.
no, because Stimulation, stimulation can also be a soothing kind of stimulation. So, for example, for many people, touch, like very gentle, light touch, can be soothing. So, it's a stimulation, but it has a calming
Mm-hmm,
effect, which would then activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxed state, the soothed
mm-hmm,
state. When your body, basically, when the one is fight or flight, then the other is rest and digest. And that
mm-hmm,
already points to this fact that like we need to be in this relaxed state for our body to digest not just food but also emotions, all the information that has come in, that
information.
all
Mm-hmm,
needs to go
mm-hmm,
through our information. Yeah, so like even news, or when we've talked to a friend, we might need a moment to recalibrate and digest the experience and everything we've heard or thought about. And then for the body, of course, to do its necessary repair processes. That's what, for example, happens at night. If you have a good night's sleep, then that's where your body recovers and repairs and like makes the cells healthy again, drains the toxins from the brain, all these things. That's why it's so crucial to have the balance.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we, if I hear you correctly, we in our modern world, we live in a state of high alert, shall we call it, or permanent um, bombardment of information, stimuli, uh, good news, anxiety, whatever shoots at us daily, 24/7, and the amount of sheer time that we can spend in non-stimulated or in digesting mode, let's call it, is too short.
Yeah, I believe so. And also like when I think of nervous system activation, I think of stress, and stress can we can experience stress on a physical level, an emotional, a mental, and even a spiritual, energetic level. So, for
Mm-hmm,
example, physical stress, exercise is physical stress to your body. That's why too much exercise is also not good for your body because it's too much activation, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
But also things like toxins, that environmental toxins or pesticides or whatever that we take in through our food, that adds a layer of stress to the body.
mm-hmm,
And then on an emotional side, like all these intense emotions that we are not taught how to deal with, how to hold space
mm-hmm,
for, how to move them through in a healthy way that's like safe for us and for others.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
But then also the mental, like the beliefs that we carry, that or the self-talk, the
mm-hmm,
negative
mm-hmm.
self-talk that we so often engage in, that will create mental stress. And then also these questions of like, who am I, why am I here, why is this happening, like
Yeah, big
on a
existential
spiritual
questions.
energetic level. Exactly, that
Hmm.
can produce some sort of nervous system activation. Like some people call it trigger, like nervous system is triggered. That in and of itself, the word is triggering. That's why I try not to use it too much, because when
Hmm.
you, I don't know, maybe I digress with this, but I don't care. But like I find that a lot of the language, and I'm a language nerd, a word nerd, and I pay attention to what happens with certain type of languaging, and a lot of
Hmm.
the language that we use comes from war and aggression. Like for example, when
Hmm.
we're having a discussion with someone, an argument, then it's you win or lose an argument. Shoot when
Hmm.
you want the other to start. All of these
Hmm.
things to indicate.
Yeah, I've got a huge issue with the word challenge. Um, Female or feminine coaches who want to sell us the challenge of this and that, and I'm like, I don't need a challenge. I'm challenged enough. I'm fine. Please don't throw me a challenge.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let me breathe on the country, or even worse, boot camp, which
Ooh,
is really,
yeah.
oh, okay. Oh my God.
Yeah, it has this
But even,
military frame
yeah,
to it that is very
absolutely.
aggressive, and like I personally have been raised by a mother who sees everything in life as a fight. And I think like a lot of us have this impression that life is a constant fight and struggle. And of course, when that is
Mhm.
ingrained and when that's the wording we use, then we start believing it and seeing it more and more everywhere. So like that's, for example, on the mental level, a place
Yeah.
where you can start.
Yeah, I agree that it's really it seems like a little thing, but it ends up being a huge thing when I listen to myself and I disagree with what I'm saying, with the words I'm using. Change them, literally change them, and do not allow even other people to talk to me in that way. It's like for me now, it's like, challenge. Nope, I'm not going in there. Nope, not
Yeah,
interested.
I'm even like
uh,
rethinking things like hit reply and let me know. I'm like, hit, I don't want to hit anyone. So reply to this email. That's it.
yeah.
Might be a little going over, like overdoing it there, but I'm mindful of these things.
Yeah, but it's interesting that you give yourself permission here to feel the way that you feel about these words and to act upon it. And the question that we go is that, if I understand correctly, the nervous system is a thing that almost reacts with us without us deciding to. So we need to be aware, to become aware of what are the
Yeah,
triggers, and I'm using that word,
yeah,
that will put us in
yeah,
stress, so as to avoid them.
yeah,
So it might be far fetched for so many people, but for you it isn't.
yeah,
So, and it's about really about an invitation about each of us finding the ways where, or the moments, and the things that makes our nervous system tensed or
yes,
stressed, and removing them.
yeah.
Now, the other thing that sorry, do you want to
No, I just had like,
elaborate?
yes, the nervous system works autonomously, and that can be a really good thing when it's dark
Of course,
outside, you're in the woods, and there might be a
of course,
saber-toothed tiger somewhere running around. Yet our nervous
of course.
system, like one thing is our nervous system isn't made for the constant bombardment with stimuli that we experience today.
Mhm.
It hasn't adapted so far yet.
Mhm.
So like it's not used to having
The
so
anatomy of
much.
the anatomy of it is ancient. Is that what you're saying? That the way it functions is was made for saber tooth and mammoths and
Yeah, and in that way it
not
can
for the
help
individual.
us today, but the other thing is like we never calm down. Like, of course not never, of course not everyone, but in today's world it's really like you have to put your boundaries up and put your phone away in the evening, close your computer,
Okay,
turn off the
so
TV,
the,
for example. But you really have to do it consciously, and otherwise there is so much stimulation to be had, not even in a negative way, but you can do basically anything at any time. You can shop anything at any time. You can keep yourself busy, busy thinking, not feeling, not
yeah.
digesting, basically all of the time.
Which is going to obviously bring me to the title of the series. Round and up she goes. So the cyclic nature, what we are discussing here is that the nervous system, at least the female one, works like the female cycle. So it has the peaks of energy and being stimulated and going up and being full on, and then it needs the retreat, it needs the calming, the digesting. So it's a little bit, it can be compared to the way the cycle works for women and menstruators. This idea that we go around up and down, not that the up is good and the down is bad, but
Yeah,
just round, different variations of energetic, um, dynamic things or non-dynamic
yeah.
energies.
And
um,
I like to point
and
out
what you're
though that like
describing,
a male body or a testosterone based body also has a cycle. Like all beings and all life is
absolutely.
cyclical. Just they work on a daily cycle, and so their down is
Mhm.
at night when they are sleeping. And that is enough for them to recover to the next day and go day
Mhm.
by day with a fairly similar amount of energy. Of course, they have got their ups and
Yeah.
downs as well.
Mhm.
But for us, it's like for women and menstruating people, it's just this prolonged cycle that this
Yeah.
world is not set up for. So we
Yeah.
question ourselves, like,
And
why is this happening over such a stretch of time? Well, yeah, because that's how you are made.
yeah, and I wanted to point out that what you're calling constant stimulation with no respite from it is also the way male sexuality works, as in they go from zero to orgasm and then they rest, and then again we go round in circles again and in cycles,
And we take
and
longer,
so
like we can take
and we
longer
take longer.
as with the bigger cycle, exactly. Like for a woman to be really aroused and have everything go in the body, because like the uterus goes up a little bit to make room and all of these things, that needs time to shift.
Mhm.
Not
Yeah.
to say that you can't be turned on in an instant, but maybe not every time.
No, of course, there is no rule to anything regarding cyclic people or non-cyclic people. But the for me, it's a back to basics conversation that I want to, or sentence that I want to point out. It's about, yes, this the way this modern world is constructed. It's constructed for men, for people who have a cycle that lasts a day. It's not constructed for us. And it's really very important to remember that, to not become crazy in our own minds. Like, why the fuck am I not functioning? What's wrong with me? Well, nothing, as you were saying, nothing is wrong with us. It's just the world has been created by and for people who sleep at night and wake up the next morning feeling brand new. We don't,
And
or
that's
not every
okay.
freaking week. You know, I
Exactly.
was. I'm really. It's really interesting. I'm recording this podcast every week, right? And last week I was talking about menopause, and it was a very dark time for me. Literally, in my cycle, I was at the bottom of whatever energetic strength I had was gone, and I was really thinking, oh, I can't wait for the new moon to kind of lift me up, and it's been amazing. Like, new moon, 2 days after that, here I go, new projects, new ideas, and I'm all full on again. And it's like, I know it's not going to last forever. And I know I'm going to need to retreat in my cave, etc., etc. But it's so important to remember that daily.
That's
And
why I promote
yeah,
daily cycle
because
check-ins, or like tracking or charting your cycle, because it will make you aware
yeah,
that today you are in this kind of mood and have that kind of energetic capacity. And with everything that's on your plate, how can you honor the way you are today?
mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah. And how can you not add the stress to your nervous system, as we were saying previously?
Right.
Because that is definitely the place where your health well, my health or anybody's health will suffer if the nervous system is now I'm very self-conscious. I can't
Constantly
use the word triggered.
firing.
Constantly firing. Thank you. So so step one is, now we know what the nervous system is. We know what fires it. We know that it would be a better idea to balance the firing moments with the quieting down moments, digesting moments. Um, is there, trick question obviously, is there one particular nerve that we know how to caress or to make friends with?
Of course, the vagus nerve, the beloved vagus nerve, which is in fact the nerve for relaxation in your body. It's the nerve that regulates relaxation in the body. That's literally how important it is. And in like my female health training, we went through the body's hierarchy of health and healing. So
Hmm.
while we obviously have different systems in the body, like the nervous system, the lymphatic system, the digestive system, the muscle system, and they are of course all important,
Yeah.
there are certain systems that are more important for your survival, and your body will make sure to keep you alive above all else.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
the number one thing, and that is where I start, no matter what a client comes to me with, is the nervous system, is the vagus nerve. Because only in a relaxed state is your body able to heal. And not just your body, also your emotional state, your
Yeah.
mental state, all of them can heal only when you are in a relaxed state. And so this vagus nerve is really fascinating. It starts in the brain and then it goes all the way down in your body, like innervating every major organ, the lungs and the liver, everything, and goes straight into your gut. And the fun thing that I like to point out is like only 20% of the information travels from top down, so from the head to the body.
Mm-hmm.
And 80% of the information travels from the body up to the head, which means that the idea of us, oh, I just have to quiet my mind and then I will relax, isn't as
Uh-uh.
effective as calming your body and suddenly your mind relaxes because it's 80% that travels down up, like bottom
Mm-hmm.
up.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
I find that
fascinating. I
so
didn't know that. Yeah,
fascinating.
that's really fascinating. I've read things around the gut is your second brain or things like that, but it never made any sense. It seemed like a theoretical thing. Now, what you're saying is that we actually have other organs and other parts of us that should or could benefit from a relaxation.
Yeah, of
Interesting.
course. And also, yes, the gut is the second brain in the sense that if your brain is dead, like in brain dead people, like the
Hmm.
gut is still working fine. It doesn't need a brain to know what it has to do. In that
Oh,
sense, it definitely is a second brain. And it's
interesting.
fascinating.
Interesting. Yeah, absolutely. So, the vagus nerve. So, do we sing it little songs? Do we caress it? How can I make it feel better so that I feel better? Or is it the reverse? If I relax, then the vagus nerve relaxes.
Well, again, it of course it works when you kind of calm your mind that your body
Mm-hmm.
and your vagus nerve will relax, but it might be harder this way than using the other way. And you've addressed like the most important things, stimulating the vagus nerve that can be through touch. As the vagus nerve runs down the sides of your neck, so it could be like a neck massage or something to the side of the neck and massaging that, but also humming or singing, but
Oh,
humming
that's
can
interesting.
work
I did
really
that.
well because
That's
it's
interesting. I
stimulating.
I did a sound session a few days back with a friend, and she had us humming, and she didn't mention at all the nervous system thing, but it made me feel so it here.
Yeah, and like I think many people don't realize this combination and the humming. What children do if you see a child and they are like, I don't know, drawing something, they will hum or sing
Hmm.
themselves a song. And some, or when they are agitated, then they will do these like rhythmic motions and hum to themselves to calm themselves down. And they do that like automatically, and we have just unlearned it, I'd
Yeah,
say.
and made it inconvenient. Like, if somebody does that, in public, you would automatically get a
Think he's
category. Or, are
crazy.
you crazy or what? But
And
what
I
I
know
just
crazy is a loaded term too, by the
Yeah, of
way.
course, but of course. But what I just realized with the humming thing is that I always thought of humming as calming thing. I'm a singer myself, so I know that I sing to myself and for myself. But there is a double component, of course, with singing or humming, which is you hear it also, so it soothes from the outside, but also from the inside. And now that you say the vagus nerves passes in the neck, well, it means that when we use our vocal cords, that produces a vibration just nearby that vagus nerves, isn't it? So maybe it
Yes.
massages it from the inside. Not that I know anything about
Exactly.
anatomy, but
That's
maybe
the
it does.
thing. But
Oh,
that's the thing, exactly. And also, what I believe, because many women and people socialized as women have issues with their throat in speaking up for
Mm,
themselves,
mm,
because they've literally been taught not to speak up for themselves, but
mm,
sacrifice themselves. And so, what I find with clients, but also with friends, and especially when you get into business, like, you have to find your voice, not just figuratively. You have to learn how to speak these things. And to me, in speaking, you liberate the vagus nerve. When you start speaking up and start speaking your truth, it will calm you down once
mm,
it's out.
mm. Yeah, and it's really interesting. I used to be a teacher, and so as you can hear, I have rather a low voice for a woman. And we've had these conversations with many of my female friends, teachers. The thing is, if you want to calm a classroom, the higher you pitch your voice, the less you will succeed. So
Yeah.
it's really about going there, the voice that you can feel in the neck, in the throat. If you start going in your head, literally head voice,
Yeah.
there is no calming anyone. It will excite the
Yeah.
classroom. If I and I can't speak with a high voice when I'm getting really annoyed. First of all, I lose the volume, but that's me. But also, you lose the groundedness of it and the embodiment of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's and I'm guessing the goes up, so less effective. If I
That's the
sing
next
just from
thing I wanted to address is, for example, to just give yourself a nice belly massage. To just go from the right, like as you would do with a child, at least that's how I have learned with a when I had a child on my arm. You would go from the right hip upwards to the rib cage, across to the other side, down to the left hip, and back to the right hip, in that
Mhm,
kind of circle, because that also moves digestion. So that's the
mhm,
way your
mhm.
digestive system works. But also, just massaging your belly will stimulate the vagus nerve, which will in turn reduce anxiety, calm your nervous system. Much more
Can you please
effectively,
go?
I
Can you please
believe.
repeat the which direction so that we'll make sure that
I
people
can
have
also
heard you?
stand up for those who can see it right now.
Yeah.
So I start at the right hip. I move up to the rib cage, right side. I move over to the left side of the rib cage, down to the left hip, and back over right to the right hip. And
Hmm.
then having these circles around the belly button or slightly wider,
So is that
wherever
counterclockwise?
feels good.
Is that counterclockwise? Yeah,
No, it's
I think it is.
clockwise,
Is it? Right. Yeah.
isn't it?
Sorry. I'm not good with clocks. I should
Clockwise.
never have mentioned that. Your explanation was perfect. Let's keep it at that. So, humming, singing, massaging the neck,
Massaging
massaging the belly.
and breathing.
Anything else that we can
It's
do? And
something that
breathing.
we
Oh,
already talked about, I
you
think,
know,
in our very
I'm
first
afraid to say
episode.
that you have been repeating yourself here, because the breathing you seem to
Yeah,
consider we need to learn to breathe again for everything,
we do. In
shall
fact,
we?
we do.
We do.
Because it
In
it
fact,
the breathing that engages your diaphragm, which is a muscle at the lower end of your rib cage,
mhm.
which then will extend into the belly, meaning your belly protrudes. That is okay, that is wanted. Thereby, because the organs need to go somewhere. But by
Obviously.
moving the organs that way, you give them a massage on the inside. And massaging the belly organs will stimulate the
Hmm.
vagus nerve. Also, the
The
attention on the
Chinese have
out
a
breath, the out breath needs to be longer than the in breath, which is very important. I had a client who had, she called it a breathing tic, which was like she was almost hyperventilating. And
mhm,
then she tried to inhale more because she felt like she didn't get enough air. And
yeah.
what I have learned in my yoga teacher training, focus on the out breath and help them breathe out longer,
Hmm.
because that
Hmm.
that changes like the level of oxygen and other gas in the body, in the bloodstream, and then calms you down and you can breathe normally again. But it's about elongating the out breath. That's the important thing. Also, when you've got someone who really is hyperventilating, help them breathe out. They need to breathe out in order to calm
Yeah.
down and be able to breathe
Empty,
in again.
empty the thing. It's interesting because symbolically it's also about emptying, again, about the pause where we digest the part we live with the emptiness instead of the eating. My video might be freezing, so hopefully it will get better. I wanted to also say about the breathing thing that I stumbled upon. I was teaching breathing in my own personal things. It's the goddess Hestia who helps you breathe in my world, and I stumbled upon a few apps for to help my clients breathing. So there are some apps that you can literally program to have, for instance, the inhale goes up to 4 and then the exhale is on 6, so you count and you have a little ball that's funny and you can watch the little ball. And then I have one of those apps on my phone, and in periods of high stress it rings. If I decide I'm going to do some breathing exercises 2 times a day or 3 times a day or 5 times a day, my phone just rings and then the app pops up and reminds me that I can stop whatever I do and breathe for 5 minutes or 3 minutes, or and that has been really helpful. That because of the bombarding I seldom stop of my own volition, well then if the phone rings and reminds me of that, and then the app pops up and I do it. So that can be helpful as well. There is a numerous list of apps, so I'm guessing the people who listen to us will find the right one for them. The one I use actually is French, so I'm not going to give the references to it. It doesn't say much, but the programming is in French, so
I
it was
believe you
actually
wanted to
made.
say something about Chinese
Yes, I
before
was going
I
to say, because
interrupted.
there is no, I think we both interrupt each other a lot, but that's fine. um, you're supposed to be the expert, so what the am I? So you were mentioning massaging the organs with the deep breath, and I remember you say a discipline of Chinese medicine that is called Kinate Tsang, and that is about massaging the organs. So that we're talking from outside, not with the breath. And obviously, you need somebody else to do it for you. But these Chinese people had a few ideas way back when, didn't they?
They did quite a lot, actually. I
Because
recently learned that they, like with the 5 elements, I knew that they had 5 elements,
mhm,
but because here I feel like I only hear about like 4 elements,
mhm,
and we've got like 4 seasons and all of that.
mhm,
And I recently learned that the 5 elements are also connected with the seasons, and
yeah,
they have a fifth season, which is late summer. And I
mhm,
was like, yeah, because when I talk about the menstrual cycle, I separate the autumn in 2 parts. And the first part could be considered late summer, which is when you are still in this like harvesting creativity
mhm,
mode.
mhm.
And then you move in the premenstrual phase where everything just goes down.
Their
And I
fifth
love that,
season,
like,
yeah.
I've
Uh,
also
you
connected
have
with the
you have some
fives.
Chinese you have some Chinese origins or connections. I believe this late summer season is connected with the element of earth, so that would make sense with the harvest thing that you
Yeah.
mentioned. I think you must be Chinese, in fact.
I studied Chinese, at
Oh no, I
university.
didn't know.
I there was a time when I talked like a Chinese person, like for reals, and
Awesome.
I can't do that anymore. But I plan on refreshing my Chinese this year.
Oh, great.
But yeah, back to the topic,
Yeah. So
because one thing I
we have a
want to
few tools.
address,
Yeah,
that why it is so important in female health and healing, and I just want to make sure that we've still got
of
time
course.
to address
Yes,
that.
let's definitely, since it's supposed to be the main topic.
Because I've already addressed the general state of the nervous system, the rest and digest state that every body and every animal and every being needs to be in every once in a while to be able to rest and digest and
Mm-hmm.
heal. But what I find, especially with female health, is like it's required for optimal hormonal balance. And most of the challenges and issues that we face, whether that's in menstrual or in perimenopausal health, they are connected to stress and to, because of the
Hormones.
stress, the hormones get out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, the stress hormone that is produced when your nervous system is activated, cortisol, is made from progesterone. And progesterone usually is the calming hormone in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Like and it's only produced when you ovulate. That's
Mm-hmm.
why when you move through perimenopause, your body starts, like the adrenal glands start taking over the production, but it will be much less than it was before. And because the progesterone is lower, that's when there is basically too much estrogen. The ratio is
Mm-hmm.
out of balance for a time for this transition, and that's when the symptoms appear. But
Mm-hmm.
similar also with any sorts of menstrual health issues like endometriosis, fibroids, cysts, painful bleeds, all of these things, they are connected to the ratio between estrogen and progesterone being out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is because when you are in high stress, that can be mental stress, that can be emotional stress, that can be physical stress, like too much exercise again, then you have too little progesterone because it's used up for cortisol production. And that's why it's so crucial to take good care of your nervous system so that your body can get all the calm that you need to get the ratio right, and then you will experience fewer issues.
It's amazing. I mean, it's amazing that the anatomy is so symbolically transparent. Literally, that the message from the body is so clear when we get to understand what the language of the body, and obviously, there is no choice almost but to find a way or various ways to calm ourselves.
Yes. And exactly, not all the and again, not all the time, but to have your moments of calm and peace. And there are 7 types of rest. I've talked about that on my own podcast. Like there are different types of rest, and one of them depends on your personality. So whether you're an introvert or an extrovert,
Hmm.
because introvert people, they recharge their batteries by being on their own, versus
Hmm. Hmm.
extroverted people who recharge their batteries literally by being with someone else.
Hmm.
So for extroverts, it can be even good to socialize to relax.
And that is rest or some kind of
Exactly.
relaxation. Yeah, I can
Exactly.
absolutely understand both actually, because I've sometimes some weeks I feel like an ambivert, so half extrovert, half introvert, and I think it can also be applied to that we are, as cyclical beings, we might be in fact needing all the types of rest depending on when, on which, because it's not. I'm guessing, and you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's that we need to rest only when we are bleeding, for instance, and then the rest of the time we different types of rest.
Yeah, different types and different amount of frequency of rest. When we
Hmm.
think of ovulation, which is like typically not for everyone, you have to look at your own cycle and cyclical makeup, but for a lot of people that's a high energy phase during
Hmm. Hmm.
ovulation or during full moon, where you, for example, when the moon reflects all the sun's light, then you have more energy.
Hmm.
And that's when people have sleep issues
Yeah.
for a few days because there is just so much energy to go around. And that are the days where it's okay to even like burn the midnight oil, as there is this
Yeah.
proverb.
Hmm.
uh, and it's okay. It's just about catching yourself once the energy starts to wane, and not making it mean something about you and telling you, why can't I keep this up? Because you're not meant to. That's not how life
Hmm.
works.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's about catching yourself both on a non-judgmental way,
Mm-hmm.
but also catching yourself and going to rest, taking rest,
Mm-hmm.
not just think about it. And for me, it has been a journey because I'm a rather dynamic person, and I know that the rest part has always been, yeah, I'm going to use exactly that word, a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
um, I remember being a
Yeah, and you know
child
the
and
other thing
thinking
yeah.
that resting or even sleeping is wasting time. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I'll rest when I'm dead. And it was like, and it took me years to come around with that one and to really be able to honestly assess my level of energy and say, I want to rest, I need to rest.
Mm. And that's the other part that I wanted to address is this social conditioning that we have around
Mm.
rest. Like in the beginning, when you have never thought about these things, it will be so freaking hard to rest because your nervous system will be on high alert. Your nervous system will be activated by you resting because it believes that rest is unsafe. Because we live in a society that tells us to be on and on alert all the time and to
Hmm.
please not
Hmm.
rest because then you're not productive. Well, guess what?
Hmm.
Nature wouldn't be still around if she didn't go into winter and hibernation every once in a while. So, why
Hmm.
do we believe we don't need that? We do in different
We do,
amounts.
and it's yeah, yeah, and different types at different moments. We need the exhale. So, do you have any last tips and tricks to take care of our nervous system, or is it just? And I'm going to point that out, as simple as that.
So,
Because that's the thing, it seems like every time I discuss around these topics, we end up with, so these are the solutions, and they look and they sound a little simplistic. And then what happens is we then don't do it
yes.
because it seems so simple,
Because we are
right?
conditioned to believe that only hard work is good work. So if it's simple and
Exactly.
easy, then it can't be good and can't be the right
It
thing.
can be efficient.
Exactly.
It can be efficient. So let's recap the easy and simple tips to calm our nervous system from time to time. So we have rest, breathing, massage, singing, and humming. Am I correct, or am I
Yes.
missing any?
No, those are really the basics.
And all of them are rather fun activities. On top of that, it's not like it's anything annoying or very time consuming. It's just like go read a book from once in a while,
Well, I can sit
and
here having this podcast recording and massage my belly at the same time, and you won't even notice.
absolutely. Ooh, now that you told us, though. So we're coming close to the end of these 45 minutes. And I want to take a little minute to remind everyone that they can find all and every link to connect with you above or below the video or the audio, depending if you're listening to us or watching us. And that there are amazing benefits to working with Lisa. You can get her Monday musings, for instance, that you don't even need to pay for because she's generous enough to send them every Monday. And I personally, I'm going to go and say that it's one of the very few newsletters that I actually read,
Oh,
and
thank
that
you.
is my moment of rest.
Thank
That is one
you.
of my moments of rests because it's kind of has they give me a feeling of ah.
Oh,
So,
thank you for saying
so
that. That's exactly why I try to aim them for a Monday morning where everyone seems to be frantically starting on their to do list. And I want to invite you
mhm,
to calm down for a moment and start
exactly.
relaxed.
Well, it works for me.
Thank
It
you.
works for me. Then you can get her free mini course called Unlock the Healing Power of Your Cycle, which is amazing. We will talk in the next episode. We've just decided that we will talk a little bit about what is this cyclic nature that we mentioned. We're going to try and chart it out for you before getting into the deeper part in the last episode of the series. And then you have a place where you can ask a question in regards to your menstrual or perimenopausal health. And then you have also a link to work with Lisa one to one. And you can go on a free consultation, and you have a link for that as well. So there are many ways that you can work with Lisa, and that's really that if you're having issues with stress and you are a woman or a menstruator, you should think about how this is related to that, as we've been pointing out for 45 minutes, that this is not a disconnected issue, that the nervous system is not disconnected from your female health, and the hormonal state of your body is connected to the nervous system. And since our female health highly depends on the hormonal balance and things being all right, well, so last month we discussed the lymphatic system. This month, the nervous system. Next month, we're going to go back to basics and try and investigate the cycle as if we didn't know what we were talking about. Thank you very much, Lisa. I love it that we don't have a plan, but that we cyclically analyze what is the next good topic to talk about. Thank you very,
Yeah,
very
me
much for
too.
being my menstrual expert for all these episodes. I love it to bits, and I can't wait for our next meeting in a month or so. Thanks. Bye for now.